Okay, we are off and running on this our most blessed Thursday. The birds are singing, the sun is shining, the bees are buzzing, and I have to imagine that's because every bit of fauna in the universe watched AEW Dynamite last night. And I'm stumbling over my words just trying to talk about it because I I will fire off a hot take in a minute. I want to introduce my co-anchor first of all. Anchor with an A, not a W, although they both apply in this case. Dory, welcome to the show, for
Hello.
starters. um, this episode of Dynamite that we have to talk about here. First of all, welcome to the AEW Dynamite Review Modcast. This is our third, I believe, our third ever Dynamite review. And oh my goodness, three times is the charm. Dory, what did you think about this episode? I'm curious to get your thoughts first
Yeah,
before I fire off a hot
I
take.
I truly think this was one of the best Dynamite episodes ever. I posted that on Blue Sky last night, and a bunch of people seem to agree. I really think I've been watching since Sting was introduced, and I've now watched up until right before the pandemic started on Max. And this B Priestley versus Nyla Rose match going to go so hard at him. I can't believe it. Anyway, every time they're like, "We're going to be in, so and so in April," I'm like, "No, you won't be." Anyway, it
Oh, that
was.
was not blood and guts.
I know the blood and guts. God makes me sad. But anyway, yeah, no. I mean, I just got to reiterate, one of the best episodes of Dynamite I've ever seen. Certainly, one of the most consistent. Every single match was at least a 4-star for me, if not higher. And pretty much every match was higher. It was incredible. I loved every single match, every little promo that they did. There weren't many, but every one they did do, like with Hangman, with MJF, I really liked. I have some conspiracy theories and speculation about where I think MJF is going next. So I'm interested to see what you think about that. But yeah, I just love this episode. I front to back. I think I shrieked during the Billie Starkz and Mercedes match at least twice.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, we have so much to talk about. I'm so excited. But yeah, what's your hot take?
We really do. We have so much to talk about. And my hot take is not too dissimilar to your take on this episode, but I will step it up a notch. This is the best episode of Dynamite I have ever seen. I will stand on business saying that. I know we're less than 24 hours out. I know there have been moments. I hate the discourse around that word in wrestling at the moment, but there have been moments on Dynamite that have
Yeah,
been, perfect. But as a singular 2 hour slot of wrestling television, this is this is the best I've ever seen. Full
yeah,
stop. I cannot speak highly enough about it. Like you said, the pacing of this show was top notch. We've had sort of promo heavy episodes leaning into this episode. The last couple of weeks, people have been saying, "Oh, well, there's been a lot of sort of promos and angles and such," and that's good for wrestling television. I don't want to take away from that at all.
right, right.
But you do those angles and those sorts of promo heavy episodes to lead to episodes like this, where you just have 2 hours of people getting in the ring and showing the best wrestling on the planet. And
Absolutely.
it
Yeah.
it was phenomenal.
I
I like
really,
I
I
said,
really think that it's a balance. I think you have to have episodes where you've got, especially after a pay-per-view, going back again to AW 2020. I mean, the post-revolution show is not good. It's one of the, conversely, one of the worst AEW shows. It's like people really romanticize 2020 and 2019 for AEW, and I'm like, we
mm,
got QT versus Jake Hager. I mean, I don't think 2020 was as good as some people.
oh god,
Yeah, but
gonna drive me to drink.
this early, huh? Wow, new record. But yeah, I just all to say that AEW has its peaks and it has some valleys, but God, when it peaks, there are a few promotions that do it like they do. It has been already a really great year for AEW, and this was another kind of feather in their cap, if you will. I just think they knocked it out of the park with this episode. You've got to have those episodes where you set up a lot of storylines. Every now and then, I don't want, we're not another promotion that will not be named that, does it all the time. But I don't mind it every now and then, especially if they're good, right? I mean, like Hangman and MJF, I remember that promo that they did a couple weeks back, building up to the previous pay-per-view, Revolution. And it went like 15, 20 minutes, but I was there for every fucking second because it was awesome and it made sense and it worked really well. But like, I don't want every episode to be like that, of course, but every now and then is fine. But I think episodes like this are so important because it helps you deliver on what you're promising from those weeks prior, and you're really building up your roster.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when we were having those promo heavy episodes, like you said, with Hangman MJF, even going back to like Dustin and MJF and such and such, I was thinking, okay, I don't mind promo heavy episodes if the promos are this good. And then an episode like this comes along, and I'm like, oh my god, no, this is the AEW I love. This is the AEW that I adore.
I agree. Yep.
But let's absolutely get into this. Let's waste no more time, as I am frequently saying on this podcast. But I think I blame you for that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I take full responsibility for your mistakes, absolutely, all the time.
Oh God, fuck you. Right. So we started off. Oh, we should mention, by the way, actually, before we do, this crowd. Fair play to them. Walking through an absolute blizzard to get to this show, and I get that they were rewarded with a simply stellar episode of television, but fair play to them. They got the show that they deserved. Like,
yes,
because this crowd was on fire, ironically, for the entire show. I'm really interested to see what they sound like on Collision. I hope that they keep the same fire that they did all through tonight, because they showed out, and you love when a crowd shows out like that.
Yes.
So yeah, let's get into it. We started off straight into the action, which is what I love about AEW when they do it. No pussyfooting around. We just get straight into a match, and we started off with such a fantastic match. It was a 4-way match to determine the number one contender for Kenny Omega's International Championship at Dynasty, which you are going to. Lucky son.
I wouldn't know anything about that, Adam, nor have I ever mentioned it ever anywhere.
No, you definitely do not rub our faces in it like 10 times a day. Especially when they announce matches like the match we got from this match.
Yes.
So
I literally got what I wanted. I wanted two of these guys to win, and one of the two, because I didn't expect the ending, and I legitimately got everything I wanted out of this match. So I'm very happy.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was Mark Davis, who I think a lot of people people weren't expecting him to be in the match to start with, because he was up against Mark Briscoe, and Briscoe is.
I kind of figured he would be, because
losing.
Usually TK likes an even number of heels and an even number of faces. So I kind of just did the math, and I'm like, well, Mark's never going to be heel in a million years. So I figured Davis is going to balance things out, but I wasn't counting Briscoe out by any means. I thought maybe he could win, but I was like, the wrestling maths here, seeing, as you say in the UK, seem to suggest that there's going to be two heels and two faces. So, and that's what we got, which I was happy with.
That's true, because then on the other heel, sort of end of the spectrum, you have the big badass sort of Hoff in Mark Davis, and then you got Ricochet, who we have extolled the virtues of Ricochet so many times on this show. Thank you.
I stepped away from my microphone to do that, so I didn't peek it too much.
You managed it somehow. I'm actually impressed with your sort of your EQ levels were on point there accidentally.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have Ricochet doing the best work of his life still, and I saw something online that was talking about how character wrestlers can sometimes tend to let the in-ring portion of their work drop off a little bit, and they stay over based on their character work. Ricochet is a perfect example of a man who has done perfect character work and can still absolutely go in-ring.
Yes.
Because in this match, he did some very, very good lucha things, as we might say, alongside the two baby faces in this match. To your point, Orange Cassidy and my boy, my sweet thing. God, I'm so happy the Speedball is in AEW, Dory.
I'm so happy too. I'm really glad. I think we talked about it last time, but Speedball's non-binary and I'm non-binary, so I'm really excited to
Hmm.
see another non-binary wrestler. Abaddon doesn't get to wrestle nearly enough, as much as I like them. But yeah, Speedball is amazing. I've been loving his work on the indies, and he's just been doing awesome stuff for a long time. I'm really glad to see it. Justly rewarded. He's getting put in one of the biggest programs of his life. He even said that on Twitter. So I'm not putting words in his mouth there. And yeah, I'm just so happy for him. But I really want to talk about Mark Davis for a second, who
Yes, by
showed
all means.
the fuck out. He
I
fucking
was
did
gonna
a
say that.
one-handed power bomb while holding on to another guy. I forget who received what, but he had like two of the guys in his arms, and he just one-handed like power bombed somebody and then pushed away the other guy or whatever. Davis looked incredible in this match, and he looked good in the Briscoe match, and I know Mark Davis is a good wrestler, of course. You don't get to be a good tag team if you're not at least somewhat good individually, right? That's
Mm.
just math, people. That's just math. But all, I mean, unless you got a Genetti. But anyway, um, would never happen for any AEW tag team champions, though. Anyway, so
No, yeah, I wanna talk about that spot because I remember the spot
yes,
you're on about. It,
yes,
they've just come off like a sort of spot where all of the sort of smaller people relative to Mark Davis in the match have been doing their very good wrestling. And then Mark Davis comes in. I think he clotheslines them all to the floor and he picks up. I think he's choking. He's got Ricochet in like a goozle to choke him or something.
Haguzel, yeah.
It's something similar. And he picks up Speedball one-handed power bomb, and then he power bombs Ricochet as well, and then he grabs Orange Cassidy all in one
Yes.
fluid motion. I should mention, all in one fluid motion, he grabs Orange Cassidy and sticks him with honestly controversial one of the best pile drivers in the
It
game today.
I couldn't believe it. I
I
never
know.
for a second thought Davis was going to win. But after that move, I'm looking around, and usually I'm pretty good about catching people like being just off camera so they can stop the pin. But like I don't remember seeing anybody, or at least if I did, they seemed really far away. I'm like, does Davis have it? There's no
I
way.
know.
Like this would be a cool ass match, but I really would rather see Speedball or what an embarrassment of riches. I mean, I love Mark Davis, but Jesus, Speedball or Ricochet. But yeah,
Mm.
it was such a
Speak-
good pile driver. He does.
Speaking,
He's so good.
okay. Speaking of as well, like you said, I was fully expecting and hoping one of because I didn't expect the finish. We'll get on to the finish in a minute. One of
Right.
Speedball or Ricochet to win and go on to face Kenny. But we've talked about the Davis moment. There's a moment in this match where Orange Cassidy hits Mark Davis with an orange punch. Ricochet goes to make the pin. Orange Cassidy throws him out the ring, makes the pin. It is the closest near fall I have seen in years. It is absolutely ridiculous because
Speaking of orange and near falls, I kind of missed this. I looked away for a second, till because I was talking with people about wrestling and stuff, like a nerd. And I guess Orange at one point like got a 1 count and then argued it was a 2 count.
yes,
I've
oh
never
that
seen
was
anybody do that before, and I guess I technically still haven't. But what an awesome spot that is! Orange is just a master at his craft. What a great spot.
yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. He gets the 1 count and he just gets up and starts having a go. Who was the referee? I think it was
I
Was
think
it
it was
Remsburg?
Bryce. Yes, it
Oh
was
yeah,
Bryce. I remember it was Bryce because Ricochet went on commentary at one point. He's like, 1 second, Bryce, I'll be right there. And then I was like, oh, it is Bryce.
yeah, and he just gets up and starts getting in Bryce's face. Like, "Oi, that was two." Brilliant, brilliant
So
stuff.
good.
So yeah, we could extol the virtues of this match all day long, but I want to
Yes.
get to the finish because the finish is really interesting. You've got um, you've got Mark Davis. He's being, he's this is coming off the dominant stretch of him getting the very close near fall and whatever. But then the three sort of little guys team up. They get him in the corner and they're beating the hell out of him. And I think it's Speedball goes for the backslide out of the corner on Mark Davis, and he's trying and he's trying and he's gutting through it, and finally gets the big man down. And and Bryce is counting 1, 2, and Ricochet slides in, gets his feet on the ropes, and pins Mark Davis simultaneously as Bryce Remsburg counts the 3, and you have 2 people pinning Mark Davis. And they sort of, the crowd sort of, half of them are cheering the hell out of it because what a match. Half of them are saying, what the hell just happened? Who won? And they get on and Justin Roberts gets on the mic and says, as a result of 2 people pinning Mark Davis, the winners of this match, challenging Kenny Omega at Dynasty, lucky you, bitch, on Speedball and Ricochet. So you have a triple threat that you're going to see. Kenny Omega, Speedball, and Ricochet.
I am a kid on... You know that popular video? I hope you've seen it. God, I'm going to feel old if you haven't seen it. I'm going to feel old either way. But there is a video of a kid opening something it's like in the 90s, so it's like recorded on a camcorder. And he's opening his box, and it's end up a Nintendo 64. And he's like, oh my God! And he's like getting so excited. I don't know if you've ever seen that video. It's pretty popular. But yes, it's so good. And that's how I feel. I am that kid. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, this is everything I wanted. And we're getting another match I'm really excited about later on. So 2 matches for Dynasty. And not to mention Swerve versus a certain old timer. So I'm very excited. Yeah, it's this match was everything I could have hoped for. It lived up to my expectations to perfection. I'm not saying it's a 5-star match, but I think it's as good as it possibly could have been. It was a really great match. Everybody showed out here. Ricochet did awesome heel work. Davis just crushed everybody. Orange was hilarious and great in the ring. And Speedball, I mean, what more can I say about Speedball? Dude is awesome. He's great. So yeah, I really like this match a lot.
It was excellent. Like I say, hot start to the show. Crowd are on their feet for most of the match, which is a harbinger of things to come. Like I say, this crowd was fantastic all night. You have the sort of, I think, Ricochet pie face Speedball walked away. Good heat. Then I believe after the commercial break, I said it so American then. After the advert break, or we see on Triller just Dynamite the logo for like 2 minutes. We had a promo. It was the Hurt Syndicate and MVP, although I guess he is technically the Hurt Syndicate. Sorry, I'm still mentally at Speedball kicking.
Usually if you say I'm still mentally in Omaha, that's a bad thing. But this is the one exception.
To be fair, I think if I were mentally in Omaha at the moment, it would be a fucking miserable existence.
That's true. Weather cannot be good.
But yeah, we had a promo, sort of backstage or a vignette from the Hurt Syndicate. MVP sort of put over that nothing's personal, it's all business, and that they're putting the tag division on notice. Very effective. We will hurt you, etc., etc. Good.
Yes.
Point made. Thank you very much. But I want to get on to the next match. A controversial opinion. Match of the night for the TBS title: Mercedes Moné versus Billie Starkz. I don't know how big.
I think you're right. I don't know. I rated 3 of these matches so closely together that it would be hard for me to say, but I would say this is the match I had the most visceral reaction to out of any match. Well, I don't know if that's true, actually. Let me think about that. It's up there anyway.
Yeah, that was... I mean, we'll get onto that.
Yeah, we'll get to there. We'll get there.
It's making my spine tingle just thinking about it. But yes, we had Mercedes Moné versus Billie Starkz. Billie has been excellent for a long, long time. I know that there are some people who do not watch Ring of Honor. Correct that. Because this woman, her work with Athena, her work as Ring of Honor television champion, I'm going to put over that finish to the inaugural TV champion match with Queen Aminata. Was it Queen Aminata? I believe it was.
It was Queen Aminata. I was there for that one.
Oh,
Sorry
over.
to be a Brent here, but yeah, I was there for that one.
But yeah, that finish where she had the entire arena and everyone at home convinced that she had sort of really fucked up her neck, and then surprise, she takes out Aminata 1, 2, 3 women's TV champion.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Good stuff.
But all this to say, Billie Starkz is a phenomenal wrestler, and she's only, well, she's younger
20.
than me, which she's younger than me, and I'm 24, and that depresses me.
Yeah.
But she got to show the fuck out in this match. Like this is, I think, probably. I know, she's main evented Ring of Honor pay-per-views. I still think, on balance, this is probably the biggest platform she has ever had to wrestle on. Wrestling Mercedes Moné on Dynamite.
Right.
Big stakes. And oh my goodness, she is phenomenal. She's a star. And kind of get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, kind of hot take, I guess. This match started out a little slow for me. I was like, all right, they're feeling each other out here, and like, let's see what happened. But oh my god, when it got going after a few minutes, it really got going and quickly like became like one of my matches of the night for me. Billie just really showed up. It started with Mercedes dominating a lot and Billie doing a lot of babyface selling and stuff, which is fine, which is good. But I was really looking for that bully Starkz. And I was really looking for her to just fucking mess Mercedes up. I love Mercedes, but she just did, both of them did an amazing job. But at first it was Mercedes really in the lead. And then eventually, I don't remember exactly how it happened, but Billie gained the upper hand and she just went bonkers.
I remember the spot it was, because I remember thinking, Jesus Christ, because she hit Mercedes Moné. She rolls to the outside. This is sort of about maybe 5 minutes in. They've done the feeling out process, like you say. Mercedes has been mostly on top. Billie starts to get a bit of babyface fire. Mercedes rolls to the outside, and Billie Starkz hit a senton to the outside, and she just absolutely clatters her. She hits that floor. The thud that Billie made when she hit that floor, I thought, oh Jesus Christ! And she just gets up. She just gets up, sticks her tongue out as she does, and I'm like, right, we're off to the races. Let's fucking go. And from there, this match just goes into another gear.
Yeah,
because
Mercedes selling was on another level. Like, she just took those apron bumps. I remember the one that she took to her head. I was like kind of gasping a little bit. And I hadn't seen nothing yet because I forgot about Billie Stark's hidden weapon.
Oh yeah. So before we talk about that, I want to talk about briefly this move that Mercedes Moné hit that I really want her to. I think she's done it a few times.
I think it was a lung blower or something.
Yeah. So
yeah.
They both go into like a tombstone, the trade-in tombstone.
Yes. I love that. I love that
they,
little trade-off. Yeah.
Yeah, where they fold over each other and whatever. And eventually Mercedes gets her, but instead of hitting a tombstone, she jumps and leans back and hits Billie double knees right to the sternum. Like you say, a lung blower. It looked fast. People were saying in like the live chat that it should probably be her finisher. I don't hate the moneymaker as much as everyone else does, but
same.
It was very good.
Yes, I think at least it should be a signature move, if not one of her finishers. I don't think there's anything wrong with having multiple finishers.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, you want to talk about the
God damn, dude.
Shiver down the spine?
I fucking forgot that Billie had this move in an arsenal. I haven't seen her use it in quite a while. I don't think she ever. I could be super wrong. I don't think she ever used it against Athena. I could be wrong there. But it's called the Sugoi driver. And it's basically a one-winged angel, but like putting someone's head like right into the mat. And it's hard to describe, but she usually does it on the apron, or at least on the indies. She did it on the apron. If you watched her on the indies. She's been wrestling since she's like 13, by the way. All while maintaining a 4.0 GPA. I couldn't even fucking do a 4.0 GPA when I was a teenager.
Also to mention, this was her 500th match.
500th match. There are people who are in other companies who are like in their mid 30s who don't have like half of those matches. Anyway, so yeah, I just like so it's called the Segoy Driver. It's kind of like the One Winged Angel. That's what I thought she was setting her up for, and then she just folds Mercedes. Billie folds Mercedes into like inwards onto her head. I shrieked because I thought Mercedes
Oh,
literally landed on her head, and I was
yeah.
like, "Oh my god, she's dead. She's killed her. She's dead." There's no getting back from that. And like Mercedes, like very limply put her legs on the rope, but it was I have not shrieked. I shrieked at two different spots, and again we'll get into the other one later, but
Mm.
I haven't shrieked to a wrestling spot in a long time. And it just took the wind out of me. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was. I watched it back on like I think on Twitter later. If you slow it down, you can see that it's actually performed really safely. Like Mercedes lands pretty flat
Yes.
on like
Yes.
I think it's on the shoulders. Um, but it does not look like that in real time. Jesus Christ! You think, oh my god, he's just killed her. She's dead. How the fuck do you get up from that? But like you say, phenomenal work. Um, Billie then went for her senton onto the apron. Mercedes rolls out the way. Billie Starkz backs it on the apron, which, I think again, I'm parroting something I saw earlier. Someone said that Billie Starkz' offense is essentially either I die or you die. Um,
Yes.
which I think is very apt. In like 60 seconds, we went from you die to no, actually,
I
I'm gonna
no
I'm
no
gonna
I
die.
yeah, it was a Darby like spot. I mean, it basically is a Darby spot, but yeah, she did a swanton to the apron, missed, and that's
Hmm.
how Mercedes recovered to put her in the bank statement. Really great match, really great match.
Phenomenal match. And all this to lead to oh, I'm so excited. Are you going to try and make it to Texas? I don't know whether you will.
No, I fear Texas on a lot of levels. I like the Heat, but I do not like it like that at that much. Somebody was like, "Oh, well, the stadium is like has a roof and it's AC." I'm like, my brother in Christ, like the outside world of Texas, I hate to tell you, does not have AC perforating throughout the air. Like it will be miserable outside. I am not going to Texas in July. That sounds horrible. I also I mean, generally, I'm not a huge fan of Texas. So, no, it's too far. I live in the Northeast. I'm good on that. I will watch comfortably from my AC filled apartment, and I will enjoy certain matches that we are clearly building to.
Clearly building to. Um, I don't want to talk about it too much because I gather that we will have like 3 months worth of talking about this
Yes.
build, but they are clearly building towards Mercedes and Athena at All In, and I am so fucking locked in for that. I
Yeah.
am
It
so
could be
excited for
it
that.
could be another Mariah Tony level match.
Yeah, it could well be that we have two women's sort of match of the year contenders from AEW this year, and it will be.
Just call me Dwayne right now because I got some goosebumps going on, Adam.
Hold on, I don't know whether you can hear me slapping my arm like he
I did.
fucking
I heard
does.
that a little bit. Yep.
Um,
Yep. Yep.
but oh, phenomenal. So after that match, it was a phenomenal showcase. We had the Outrunners doing their Omaha shtick that they've been doing for a couple of weeks. Um, they've been working with, I think it's the Omaha Maverick, in like the I don't know. I don't know college
I don't
sports
know
in
either. So
America.
we're both out of our element here.
But the shenanigans abound with the Outrunners, and they sort of you know it's the Outrunners. Good for them. But
Yeah.
um, then we get into what I think most people going into this show would have surmised would be the main event. I certainly did. I was
Yes, I
certainly
did as well. I
I was
think
certainly
I think there was only
surprised.
one
Not
person in
necessarily.
chat. There was only one person in chat who was like, "I don't know if this would main event." I'm like, "I think it should," and then it didn't. I was like, "All right, well, damn."
Yeah, I'm not necessarily unpleasantly surprised that
Yes.
it didn't main event. especially given what did main event. But this match, right? Obviously, I should mention Jon Moxley versus Adam Copeland 2 in a street fight, which is the match that you can make the argument that this is the match that they should have had at Revolution.
Yes.
It certainly would have been better. You know, I get the argument, oh, well, you can't have 3 sort of big plunder matches in one show. But it would have been better.
They could have done a last man standing. They could have done something different. They obviously could have implemented the spike spot to make it more like stand out more. But I think they could have done last man standing. I think they could have done I don't know. Someday, this is me completely fantasy. I don't think TK will ever do this match again, but I want him to. I want them to go back to the death match and do a make good for it, because the match is actually low key a banger. It's just that the end sucks. But yeah, I think they should have done that, and that should have been the make good for Kenny versus Mox. But anyway, they could have done it. They just didn't. I don't know why. Mox and Copeland both excel in that kind of sicko hardcore environment. So I just don't understand. Like, I get it, but like they should have done it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. But we actually forgot the promo. We'll talk about it after this match.
Oh, okay.
But they start off appropriately enough, basically in the street for this street fight. You know, they are outside the arena. You know, you have the tracking shot, what looks like to be the tracking shot of Moxley coming in through the crowd, through the arena as he does. But then Cope jumps in from behind, and we're off to the races. You know, they start brawling through the arena. Something quite interesting I thought was that they were brawling outside by the trucks right at the start of this match, and Cope bounces Jon Moxley's head off Swerve Strickland's face on the truck.
I didn't even notice that. That's a good catch.
Yeah, I thought, one of those things that you just think, oh, that's neat. That's that's clever. Well done. But you know, they brawl their way through the arena. Not much to talk about just yet. You know, your standard street fight stuff. I think Cope grabs a trash can at some point, hits him over the head.
Yeah.
You know, good standard street fight stuff for the most part to start with. You know, you think you're already thinking, or at least I was already thinking, okay, we're already sort of better than they were at Revolution. But then we'll start off by talking, because they go up onto the announce table. Do you want to talk about this, because you were
so everybody had a fucking everybody had a fucking tizzy about this at the pay-per-view. Cope didn't sell the paradigm, and I agree, he didn't sell the paradigm shift very well. It looked clunky. I agree with that. I don't think it was nearly the big deal that some people made out of it, but I do agree he didn't take it very well. This DDT was obviously a make good for the pay-per-view. And he's like, oh, you want me to take a pay-per-view? How about I fucking die on the announce table right in front of Excalibur, Taz, and Tony Schiavone? I thought he took this really good. The table didn't break, by the way. I am the table. That shit's got to be some mahogany from Japan or some shit. I don't know.
I know. It's just
great.
a feature. It's just a feature of AEW like announce tables at this point.
Yeah,
but they just don't break.
I haven't seen the announce table break in a long time. I don't know. I guess they should have brought into the quote unquote. I was about to say the quote unquote the other announce table. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was at Revolution, wasn't it, that they were just like, yeah, we're going to do an announce table break, but it's going to be the Spanish one.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's made us stern stuff. But yeah, at the start of it, I was like, okay, this is pretty good. Like, I like what we're doing here. We're doing the slow build. Like, I mean, it seems pretty standard so far. Little did I know what was going to happen.
Yeah, because Cope sets up a table on the outside. It's sort of Chekhov's table. It's going to be used at some point. But I think they go back into the ring. There's maybe a chair spot or something, and then Cope rolls outside of the ring, and he gets out what he affectionately calls Spike. It just to put over Spike for a second. It is possibly the scariest looking motherfucker weapon that I have ever seen in wrestling.
You know,
It's like,
I really appreciate that Adam Copeland shouts out the Land Before Time every time that his favorite weapon comes out. I think that's great. Good job, buddy. I love Spike. Yep, yep.
yep. But yeah, like other weapons, like a barbed wire baseball bat, you think, oh, that is really fucking hurt. Spike, you think, oh, that'd kill someone. Like, if you
Yes.
hit someone with that, they die. And to that point, yeah, I think he hit. I have gone back and checked the tape on this. He does hit Christian Cage in the nuts
Yes.
after he quits.
Yep.
But you can protect that. I don't think there's anyone in the arena that actually thought that he was getting spiked in the testicles there. You can very much gimmick that. Um, there's no getting around what happened in this match.
Yes.
Um,
So let's just talk about it because we've been building this up for a while.
I'll let you take the lead on this because
So
I'm still.
I was watching the match, as you do. Kim was watching with me, by the way, before I start. So Kim had been there since the first commercial break during the four-way match. So she'd been there pretty much the whole show from work, and so she's watching with me, and we're like, it's pretty standard stuff. And he gets out Spike, and Kim and I are both watching on, and we're like, okay, and just as we're watching and everything's happening in the ring, or starting to happen, we're talking in the chat about whether Adam Copeland has ever hit anybody with Spike, and we're like debating, like, we think Christian, but we're not sure. And as we are talking about that, he does a back body drop to Jon Moxley, and Jon Moxley lands on the fucking spikes, and they don't come out, man. They don't come out. They stay in his fucking back. And I want to shout out my friend Andy here for his joke about Healer Yuta, which is never going to get the appreciation it deserves because of the absolute state of mind we were all in at the time. But Andy, that joke was golden. Go you. But fucking Healer Yuta comes out just after that happens, gives the Busaiko knee, tries to pull the spikes out of Jon Moxley's back. It's worse than the bump because you can see it, and the crowd is just groaning in unison. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, fucking terrible." Kim is on the couch beside her. Like, she likes death matches, but she does get a little like every now and then, especially with like tacks and stuff that pierces. And like, so you can only imagine. She was like, "Oh my god, I cannot watch this." Like, she's like, I don't know. I wasn't looking back because I was transfixed to the screen, but I think she was like covering her eyes or looking away, or it was gnarly.
There have been 3 moments in AEW's existence where I have physically put my hand over my eyes like a school child, like peeking at a horror movie. And it Darby Allin taking the glass at Revolution, Hangman Pearson swerve with the needle in the cage, and this bump right here with the bat clearly just puncturing him. Oh no! It's making. You could hear the noises I was making when you were describing it. The involuntary. I'm not putting that on for any sort of podcast pizzazz or whatever. That is. Oh my god! It's awful and it's fantastic. And
Yes.
Jon Moxley, we may have talked down your Death Riders run, but they will never make me hate you. You are the ace of AEW because you drove 11 hours in the fucking snow to go and do that for us. Holy shit.
Yeah. I think I haven't had a reaction to a kind of deathmatch spot or deathmatch-esque spot since Hangman put the syringe in Swerve's mouth. Which honestly, relative to this, was just ridiculous. I also want to shout Jon Moxley out. I know that a lot of people, including myself, are critical of the Death Riders program. You cannot tell me shit on Jon Moxley. That man drove 11 hours in a blizzard to fucking get his back spiked through. And like, so we need to show some respect to our AEW World Champion, even if it's in a briefcase, even if we don't like the interference sometimes, even if like sometimes the promos are a little long-winded because my man's got a bad case of ADHD just like me. What's up, John? I just like, I just want to put some respect on this man's name. He does not have to do that. He is a made man. He is one of the aces of AEW. He does not have to do that. And he did it. He did it all for our entertainment. I don't know if he knew that was going to happen, but he didn't fucking care. I just want to give a shout out to Jon Moxley for that. This was a really great match. And that was a really great spot. After the spot, if you can believe it, there was stuff after the spot. Everybody started coming back. I thought they were going to save this for Dynasty. Actually, I thought Swerve was going to get attacked by Claudio and Marina and everybody else, but no, they came back. They didn't. Did you say you're glad that they didn't?
Yeah, I'm glad that they did.
Yeah. No, I'm glad as well. I at first I was like, this feels a little soon, but also I'm like, I'm glad that I don't have me at Dynasty because I'm like, oh, I know what's going to happen. So now it's already happened. So I'm like, whatever. But yeah, everybody came back, Marina, and then fucking Willow came out in this beautiful cardigan kind of skirt. She was styling and profiling. It was crazy.
And she did a senton in a cardigan to the outside of Marina Shafir. Like, honestly, felt that woman up this year. She's
Absolutely.
She's phenomenal.
She needs to get that babyface run. I really think this is her year.
Yeah, and then just to solidify the end of this match is full-blown clusterfuck territory. I'm saying that in a good way, not a derogatory way. You have the patriarchy come out as revenge, I suppose, for Cope sort of costing Christian the world title by kicking out. But you have Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne come down. They I think Cope fought off Sabian, but he took a Wayne's World from Nick Wayne. Shout out the bastardized Ozcutter. I'm not hating. But Moxley then the numbers game was just too much for Adam Copeland. It was 6-on-1 essentially. So eventually Mox gets him in the bulldog choke, chokes him out. We should mention as well that FTR came down to even.
Yes, I was just about to say we need to talk about that FTR stuff because I find that very interesting.
Yeah. So after the match,
couldn't believe that Cash came out with a gun again. That was crazy.
Oh, honestly, I mean, what are the carry laws in Omaha, Nebraska?
Oh, there's got to be none, right? There's got to be fucking negative. if you're not armed, you're not a citizen of Omaha. That's what I think.
No, I was gonna say you get fined if you don't open carry.
That's right. If you're not strapped up at all time, if you're not bringing that Glock, like, what are we doing?
Yeah, if Cash pulled that shit in Omaha, he'd have got a parade rather than a parole.
My cold, dead Omaha hands. Anyway.
But yeah, so after the match, Death Riders walk off, flip everybody off, stay classy, Omaha.
Right.
FTR and Willow help Cope up to his feet, or at least Willow and Cash do, because Dax, Cope sort of lifts his arm up for Dax to help him up, and Dax rolls out the ring and help him.
This really took me by surprise. I did not see this coming. Like, obviously, we've been speculating ever since they teamed up with the Outrunners, and maybe even a little before that. Everyone has been speculating about the FTR going back to being heel because, look, I love Dax and I love Cash as wrestlers. As baby faces, they've gotten stale. It's always God, family, money, whatever. I was thinking last night, Dax is, God damn, like lives in my head rent free. I don't know why, but when he said God damn, every now and then I'll just say God damn to myself like Dax does, Dax the Axe. And they're great wrestlers, but they need to bring that edge, not Adam Copeland, back to their act. I think as they are kind of getting to the end of, I think the end of their career. They've said this themselves. I think they're on their final. I mean, of course, they're workers. They could be working, right? But I do think FTR is probably AEW for life, and I think this is probably their last contract with them. I don't know. But anyway, regardless, I think they're a great act, and I think they should go heel sooner than later. But it's interesting because it looks like Dax is turning heel, but not Cash. So that leads you to wonder what the fuck's happening with FTR. Now, what I think is happening is that Cash is just going to turn a little slower, and eventually Dax is going to...
I'm with you.
Yeah, I think Dax is just going to change his mind. Now, I saw this take online. I actually agree with it. Amazing. But, it makes sense that they're frustrated. They keep losing. Cope keeps losing. like they're tired of losing. Look, at least Dax is tired of losing, right? I know they just beat Kyle O'Reilly and Roddy, but that was only after losing after doing the right thing in the first match, right? So they're technically still tied in terms of the in terms of the leaderboard or whatever you want to call the rankings. But yeah, so I don't know. I think Dax is just tired of tired of being of being on the losing side, whether that's his friends or himself, and not in kayfabe maybe not feeling like his tag team's getting the push that they used to get in the division. Although that's hardly the fault of them, of course, because the tag division is under a rebuilding kind of stage right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was really interesting and not what I expected. Cash still picks up Cope, still gives him a hug, kind of gives him a shrug, like, I don't know, dude. I don't have anything to do with it. I think it would have been great if he just kicked Cope right in the balls right there. But for a second, like Willow kept sticking around. Yeah, for a second, Willow was sticking around, and I'm like, why is Willow still there? Like, we would never, right? And I was,
I think I said in the chat, like, go on, kill him.
Yeah, I was like, what are we like? No, there's no way. But they didn't. They didn't. Willow was just there because I mean it's fucking Adam Copeland and he's awesome. My goat not taking any pins. Let's go. See, I don't care if he does it. I care if a certain spooky bastard does it. Anyway. But yeah, this was a really great match, and this was the match they should have. Definitively, this was the match they should have had the pay-per-view. This was the match I wanted at the pay-per-view. I said, weeks before the match actually happened that they should have a hardcore match, and I will be there day one. If they're not, I'm more trepidatious about it. I still think it was a good enough match. I think there was way too much overreaction to it. But I understand compared to everything else came for it. Anyway, this match was really great. This was the match they should have had, but they didn't make good. Cope is now out of the title scene, so everybody who's criticizing 50-year-olds being in the title scene can shut the fuck up. Because we got Swerve.
Yeah, we got Swerve. And I'm really excited for that match.
Yes.
So after that, we had a few sort of backstage things, mostly setting up things for Collision. We had a surprisingly great promo from Bandito, I thought.
Yes.
Who I don't want to come across as ignorant of Bandito and his sort of promo ability. He spoke a lot better than I expected him to. I don't think he's had much opportunity to cut many promos, at least not on a big stage like this. But I thought he did really well. I thought he had that sort of babyface fire about him.
Yes. Yeah, I was definitely impressed by this. I knew Bandito speak some English because of his AEW interview, but it seemed a little limited to me, and so I wasn't sure how that would translate to. And this is AEW. You don't need to be a promo master to get over with the crowd. If anybody has shown that, it's motherfucking Hologram, one of the best luchadors in the world. Like they were talking about on the Collision show. Great job to Smoke and Tim on that. Absolutely. And so, and Commander does speak sometimes, but not a lot. Anyway, you don't need to be a promo master. Mike Bailey's going to be another person, not a luchador, but still, who is going to get over because he doesn't really need to do it through promos. Anyway, that's all to say. Bandito did a great promo here. I liked what he had to say. I think he's getting that title back at Super Card of Honor, which is happening at some point, sometime, not in Vegas. I'll tell you that. It's not happening in April.
Yeah, it's so weird. I don't want to dwell on it too much, but weird that they're not running the Supercards at Vegas. At Mania weekend, which they normally do. But I don't know. Perhaps Tony Khan just doesn't want to, run shows in the same time as WWE. I hope WWE. I hope WWE follow that impulse.
I'm sure they will, Adam. They are only a respectful company, and they would never do anything to harm the fan base or the indies, for that matter.
No, exactly.
Yeah, no, it's. I think Tony has said and we're not going to dwell on this for too much longer. We'll move on with the show, but I do think it's important to note Tony has for a long time not wanted to have Super Card of Honor compete with WrestleMania, or at least be. I do think that there's some merit to doing it. But I also understand not wanting to do it because the market is so oversaturated with wrestling. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like the Lycaria Center got a good turnout last time. But anyway, we'll see. I'm interested to see where Supercard happens. But yeah, that was the Bandito promo.
Yeah, and then we should mention as well, Johnny TV comes out, who I have to imagine is there just because everyone else was snowed in, and he made it to TV, and it was like, oh, okay, you can have the match against Bandido on like Saturday or Sunday. I think it's Sunday. So yeah, book the match. Should be a good match.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that, more on the Collision podcast or whatever. I want to talk about my boy. He said, "Put me in, coach," on Twitter, and they did, and I'm so happy because wrestling is better. Dynamite is better when Will Ospreay is in a match, and it's surprising to me, right? I want to talk about this match because he's facing AR Fox. Shout out AR Fox, by the way.
Yes.
Welcome back from your stint in I don't want to say Guantanamo Bay. But happy to have you on television, my friend. This match, I think it only went about 7 minutes.
Yeah, it was definitely less than 10.
It just goes to show the supreme quality of wrestling on the show, the quality of the show in general. When this match was really good, I think it's still probably the worst match of the night. Not like I say, I got into this when I said it last night. I'm not saying this match was bad. This match was very good because it's Will Ospreay versus AR Fox. They could have a 2-minute squash match and I'd be like, phenomenal, brilliant match. But this match, they did what they do, which is they did a lot of incredible sequences that I could only dream of. And like I said, it went 8 minutes. Good match. Probably the least sort of, satisfying. Well, not satisfying. You get what I'm trying to say. Please put me into
I
Final
get what
Fury,
I
okay?
get what you're saying. You're saying Will Ospreay is one of the worst wrestlers alive, and you hate AR
Yeah,
Fox. And no, I understand.
yeah.
This is all obviously what you're saying. No, I agree with you. This was a great match, but it did not compare to everything else that came before it. Obviously, it's just a fun TV match. I love AR Fox. I'm really glad he's out of the doghouse. I really enjoy his work. He's just so good in the ring. He's so precise. He's like in his 40s, I think, if you can believe that.
Is he
Man does
really?
not look like
Hold
he's.
on.
I believe he's in his 40s. That could be
I'm
early
I'm
40s to be
doing
clear.
I'm doing emergency googling. Um,
Yes,
he's
but
37. Boo.
37. Okay, all right, so late 30s. My bad, AR. My bad. But anyway, he's really great. He's in his prime, and he's acting like it. He's a well-traveled veteran in the ring, and he's got himself into some hot water. But I think he's starting to get himself out of it more and more. Been out of it for a little bit now, which is great. I really like this. There's a lot of great spots with them landing and doing kip ups and doing aerial maneuvers. AR Fox just doing impressive AR Fox things. I don't know, Adam, were there any big spots you want to point to?
Only to say that there's a moment sort of they do what the spots that you would expect. I think Oscar hits a Stun Dog Millionaire, which he does
Yes.
low key better than Darby Allen, but we won't. No,
Does he
not
do it
Darby
better than
Allen. Sorry,
OC?
Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy.
Oh, okay.
Darby Allen does something similar where he flips over them and does the stunner, which is what I was confusing. But I think he low key does it better than Orange Cassidy. But it's Ospreay. That is not a knock on Orange Cassidy. Ospreay
Right.
is going to do most things better than most people. I think it's fair to say. But they do sort of. I think Ospreay hits Spanish Fly. He hits so many moves. There's so many moves to talk about, but I do want to talk about one, which is that AR Fox got a surprisingly good neon fall. He hit this move. I got a feeling he calls it. I think it's the low main pain. But it's his finisher, and he hits it, and he gets the cover, and it was another one of those 2.99, as Excalibur would say, ad infinitum
Yes.
um, covers, which bought me a little bit. Not that I expected. It's one of those where there was a 1% chance that Mark Davis was going to win, or Orange Cassidy, especially Orange Cassidy, was going to win. So I bought those finishes. I didn't expect AR Fox to win at all. So I bit a little bit, but not as much.
Right.
But
Yeah, that
a
makes sense.
very good match. AR Fox went for the 450 splash, misses. Hidden Blade by Ospreay, 1, 2, 3. Very good match. not a great deal to talk about, but a great match, a good standby match. What a company where Will Ospreay is your standby match.
Yeah, this was a great match. I am really impressed with both guys. I hope AR does more, and guess what? He will be doing more. He'll be on Collision.
Woohoo! Yeah, we should. Oh, we forgot to talk. Okay, we forgot to talk about the MJF promo that I said we talk about
Oh,
after.
yeah, and the one I want to do reckless speculation about. Yeah, let's definitely talk about that.
Yeah, so apologies for the blatant unprofessionalism
The
of this podcast.
disrespect of the best AEW world champion of all time. Unbelievable.
He's not even the best Max on this roster.
Wow. I mean, you know what? That's true, because one of those Maxes are the best wrestler alive, and one of them isn't. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, fuck him. Anyway, so yeah, MJF, he cuts he cuts a promo. So it's backstage. I'm having to scroll back up my notes here. So yeah, he said, fans are placing bets on who's going to win the world title. And he runs down all the candidates for the world title. He mentions Darby Allin, he mentions Will Ospreay, etc. And he's basically just saying, "Oh, all your favorites, all the people you think are going to win, I've beaten them all." And he says that he's going to. He mentioned something about MVP. I have in my notes that he mentioned about MVP. I think he said he's going to give him his decision on joining the Hurt Business, which I'm very interested. The Hurt Syndicate, yeah. I should mention before everyone gets on my nerves. He's going to give MVP his decision next week. What did you think?
I was very interested in this. Now, I want to mention some backstory about MJF that some people might not know. He used to be in a stable. Now, that stable has a very particular name. Now, I know some people aren't interested in this happening. I'm not saying I am, right? I wasn't watching when this was happening, but I think it's very interesting.
Watching MLW?
I don't think so. I think Eric Bischoff's watching, but that's about it. But
Eric,
for 83 weeks straight, I've heard.
Fuck off.
He's been watching for 83 weeks straight, Adam. Anyway, but I wanted to make that. The joke was so good, I had to make it twice. But anyway, look, he was in the stable with a couple other people, Holiday and Hammerstone. They were called the Dynasty. AEW Dynasty is coming up. He's talking about being a world champion and having people who he can trust to have his back. Do I think this is actually going to happen? No, I don't. Do I necessarily want this to happen before people get in a meltdown about it? Well, it's too late for some people, but I don't necessarily want it unless they can really make it work. And I don't know how they can do that because Holiday has never been presented as a formidable opponent. Hammerstone kind of was in TNA. I liked his match with Josh Alexander, but I didn't see anything else from him. So I don't know if it's even worth doing anything with him.
Respect Richard Holiday. He got Roosh taken off TV for like months.
That's true. You know what? You mess with the Holiday, you get the hiatus. I don't know. There we go.
I don't know why that tickled me so much.
I don't know why either. I was like, that one was not good, and then you start laughing. I'm like, you know what? I don't know.
But yeah. So first of all, no. Por favor, Mr. Khan. No. But I can see a world. But it is not one that I wish to inhabit.
Yeah.
But it adds a little bit of intrigue. I will give you your rec spec about Hammerstone and such.
I think much more likely relatively much more likely we are teasing a Pinnacle reunion because Max mentioned the Pinnacle. FDR is turning heel. Wardlow's been gone for God knows who long, and needs a new direction, which honestly might just be going back to his origins. I know some people are done with Wardlow. I don't really care either way if he's gone or he's not. Yeah, I think they could bring back the Pinnacle. I think they could do better. I think Max has maybe learned to play ball a little better than he used to. I know that was part of the issue with the Pinnacle never really getting over because besides FTR. Um, but yeah, I know that they had some heat there, so maybe it will never happen. But it seems like they're teasing it. Weirder fences have been mended, so I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. Um, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what Max is. This is the interesting thing. We don't. This is the one thing we can really speculate about. If he really does join the Hurt Syndicate, that'd be super funny. By the way, Adam, do you think MVP knows that he's not? Well, I mean, he's not. I mean, I know he's got a. Never mind. Anyway,
I was gonna say, listen, Montel, it's tan. Make the distinction, my boy. It's tan.
yeah. But anyway, yeah, there's at least 3 interesting choices, but there could also be other stuff. Maybe MJF is just going to go solo. I would fucking love, Adam. I know some people are going to be so upset about this. God, there's so many controversial options. But if you ever get Better Than You, Baby as a heel tag team, oh my God, pop a million times over. I loved Better Than You, Baby. And a heel Adam Cole with a heel MJF would be so good. I guess that's kind of what they were for a second, but then they quickly turned babyface because they were too over with the crowd. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting possibilities here.
Yeah, I think just to tie it in with what we were going to talk about next. After the Osprey match, we had Hangman declaring for the Owen Hart tournament. Which, by the way, I love that everyone is declaring. All the top stars are
Yes.
declaring.
That lovely man can declare whatever he wants. I will be listening.
But just to piggyback on what you said about Max, I think
Yes.
now that Hangman has declared for the Owen Hart tournament, I would imagine that probably Max will as well, because I think there's been a clear focus on making this Owen Hart tournament just the most stacked it can possibly be. If you're going to have the prize be the world title match at All In, you want everyone who is a contender for that spot to be in this tournament. And I think so far, they've done a really good job of making it that prestigious, that
Yes.
elite level tournament that it absolutely should be given the stakes. So
Yes.
I think absolutely Max will declare for that tournament. And I think that's probably the direction that we're going for the next sort of couple of months.
I really could see Osprey versus Hangman. Or I guess I should say my fantasy booking brain can see Osprey versus Hangman, and I want it with, a mighty need. I told Cam, I looked at her, I said, if we get Hangman versus Osprey, I will not be the same person after. Like, my DNA will have irrevocably changed. Think of the promos, the match itself, the fallout. Oh my God, Jesus Christ.
Oh, wouldn't it be nice? But I think that's probably the direction that we're going here, and I'm on board fully. Then after that, that announcement from Hangman, I think he said he sort of tied it into Swerve as well, saying that he would never let him hold gold in AEW again, but he's focused
Yes.
on the tourney. Perhaps that means that maybe we'll have Swerve versus Hangman in the tournament, and Hangman beats him. I would not mind that one bit. I know there's the argument that, oh well, that story's done. You keep them away from each other, but that's the beauty of tournaments. You can
Yes.
absolutely have the tournament fall, as it were, that you have people like that just happen to face each other, and it would be magical. But I digress. Because after that, they sort of ran down a bunch of the card for Collision. You've got Adam Cole versus Danny Garcia. We're getting that title off you, boy. Sorry, lad. Yeah. I don't think there's much doubt about that in my mind. I don't know about you.
No, I love Danny, but he needs to be doing something else. I would honestly love him in Private Party back in the trios. I think it would be a great kind of full circle moment. I know there are other trios like the Ops and stuff like that, but I think it would be great if him and Private Party got those trio titles from Claudio, Pac, and Yuta. I think that would be a great kind of bow tie, like a little bow in the story that they were telling earlier in the year, and like later last year, where the Death Riders were picking on Danny and Private Party. I think that would be a great everything comes full circle. It's like poetry; it rhymes.
It does, and it would be. It's an avenue that I think they probably will go down, and I'm excited for it. Even if we can predict it this far out, I think it's still one that it's good enough that it doesn't matter that it's predictable. You get what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, predictability is overhated in wrestling. Wrestling is not supposed to be this ridiculous enigma that you can never figure out. And swerve, bro, not that swerve. Every 5 seconds, like it just gets boring if you do that. It's not supposed to be indecipherable. You're supposed to be able to understand where the story's going, why it's going there, and where it's most likely going to end up. That doesn't mean you can't do surprises. Doesn't mean you can't have swerves every now and then, especially while you're driving. But like you gotta do it carefully. You can't be all willy nilly because otherwise you end up like other companies that may or may not have flopped in 2001. So yeah, I do think that predictability is overhated in wrestling. I think there's so many awesome directions we can do for All In. I'm really excited about that.
Absolutely. Just to run down the card again.
Yes,
On Saturday, round three. The third match in the trilogy, Queen Amanata and Julia Hart, all in for
yes,
that one. Love
yes,
that. More non-title women's feuds, please, Mr. Khan,
yes.
because they seem to always show out. I'm thinking specifically about
Hey,
was it Rosa and Diana?
yes,
Brilliant. A Collision mainstay for their residency in Texas last year. Phenomenal stuff. Absolutely keep doing what you're doing, Queen and Madame Julia. You're phenomenal, the pair of you. Max Caster's open challenges that day, which I don't want to speculate on that. I think it's coming to the point now where it's like regardless of who ends up challenging him. I just have the time of my life watching them. I think
yeah,
Max Caster's doing the best work since probably like the absolute peak of the Acclaim, sort of late 2022. I think it's the best he's been since then.
yeah.
Um, Cannot say enough. Well done, Max, for turning it around and making me not hate you, or at least hate you in the right way. Um, we got the Don Callis family of I think it is Takeshita, if I'm not mistaken. He did make it there. Takeshita and the Murder Machines of Brian Cage and Lance Archer versus Mark
Meat.
Briscoe Power. Meat falling off the bone on this one. Mark Briscoe, Powerhouse Hobbs, and a random Rocky Romero in there as well, which I'm very
Oh
happy
yeah.
about. Love Rocky. And then, for some reason, I encountered someone who really didn't like Rocky the other day, and I just thought, well, I
I
at least
I
went.
can't even imagine who that kind of delinquent person would be. Rocky
Mm,
is almost single-handedly responsible for Forbidden Door and for CMLL. So I mean, any kind of person who would not like Rocky Romero, not welcome in my house personally.
yeah, absolutely. Fuck whoever that was. I cannot
Yeah,
remember for the life of me.
no, probably
But
nobody important.
yeah, but for context viewers, it's a close friend of ours. Um, um, but I love that match. I think Tony Khan is a very good matchmaker in terms of throwing together matches like that. I think it should be a really good one. Um, then you have, I believe this is for the trios title on Sunday. You have
Yes,
the Death Riders versus Top Flight and AR Fox. AR Fox pulling double duty, making up for all
hell
the
yeah.
months that he was, stuck in the doghouse. Bandido versus Johnny TV, which we already mentioned. Harley Cameron is there, which
Squash,
just,
let's go. I was gonna
yeah.
mention this earlier.
Oh, love Harley
Very
Cameron.
excited. I'm very excited for Harley to just squash Fool. Hopefully, she just takes the puppet and just bonks him and just wins. 1, 2, 3.
Absolutely. And then it's Hologram and Commander versus my boy Frank Mortos and Dralistico,
My
which
favorite lawyer.
may well be my most hyped match of the weekend,
All right,
to be
sorry, Mark,
honest.
Mark Sterling. With apologies to Mark Sterling, but my favorite lawyer, Beast Mordos.
Mark Sterling is like Lionel Hutz. It's fun to watch, but you definitely wouldn't want him representing you in court.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's your collision rundown, and then Finally, not quite finally, because then we had a promo with Mercedes Moné and Renee Paquette, possibly my favorite backstage pairing in all of wrestling right now.
Yes. It helps that they've known each other for like what, 10 years, 15 years?
Yeah, they just have preternatural chemistry.
Yeah.
It's really good. And Mercedes teased, she was like, who Billie, who trained her, because they know nothing about wrestling or anything like that. Obviously, is setting up something which we talked about already, which so I won't belabor the point. But yes, fucking please. Um, and then finally, we have our main event. And
Yep.
Toni Storm comes out. Crowd comes absolutely unglued for her. So amazing,
So
as
does the
they should.
commentary.
We'll get to the commentary.
Yep.
We will get to the commentary because Jesus Christ.
I didn't even get all of it because I don't watch AW Plus or Fight or whatever, so there's some stuff I missed.
Yeah, I honestly think, not to take away from the match, we're probably going to end up spending more time talking about the commentary than anything else with this match.
Yes.
But love that Toni Storm is getting the best reactions possibly on the roster because she deserves it. Probably the best thing in AEW right now. Phenomenal. Anyway, so yeah, Megan Bayne versus Chris Statlander is your main event. Love the women getting the main event on this
Absolutely, yes.
show. Phenomenal, and both women are brilliant as well. So you can't even say that they don't deserve it because they do. Jesus Christ. Tony Schiavone mentions about the Hollywood ending at Revolution, and Toni Storm says, "Oh, I heard Tony Schiavone had a Hollywood ending as well, but he had to pay $45 for the pleasure."
Yes.
At which
Good
point I'm like,
stuff.
oh, she's on one tonight. Here we go. But yeah, the match itself. We should talk about the match itself. I realize I've been talking quite a bit, so I don't know whether you want to jump in on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I loved the match. I thought it was another really great match. I was very surprised this got the main event, but very happy. I'm not completely clear on why. Maybe just because TK knew that we knew that, obviously it was going to be Swerve versus Mox and not Swerve versus Cope. I don't know, but I'm not mad about it. Obviously, Bane looks impressive, and she just looks great in every match she has had, whether it be a squash match or a competitive match. Don't know if we can say the same for, previous women who are of similar stature, but Bane's doing a great job. And I'm really happy with her work here. She really showed out. Again, similar to the other women's match, a little bit of a slow start, but once they got going, again, they really got going. They're throwing each other around with German suplexes. They kicking the shit out of each other, falling on each other. It was really good, hard hitting match with excellent commentary from Toni Storm.
Absolutely, yeah. This match, like you say, slow at the beginning, which I didn't necessarily mind.
No, I don't mind.
These women are tanks on legs, so it's like you would expect them to have a sort of process where they gradually wear each other down and they gradually build up to the big spot. But yeah, very good. Like you say, stellar commentary. I want to put over you. You weren't listening on Triller. Right as they get onto the picture-in-picture, the Triller portion of the commentary, Tony Schiavone. Well, Toni Storm turns to Tony Schiavone and says, "Oh, by the way, Mr. Schiavone, I was pleasantly surprised to see your name pop up in the JFK files." And you can hear Taz and Excalibur just absolutely pissing themselves laughing the whole way through like the entire picture-in-picture section. It reminded me so much of like AEW Dark, where you just have the commentators just take the piss the entire time, and it was glorious. Oh dear.
I
mean,
love that. That was so good. That was one of the things I missed, like you said. But I saw it back on Twitter. And yeah, very good stuff. Tony just doesn't know how to deal with Tony, which is just very funny to me.
It's so
And
good.
it's so good. I want to highlight something that Chris did that I just remembered. the commentary was great, but Chris Statlander, so she's injured both of her legs. I believe both of her ACL. She was out for quite a long time. And she used to be, I don't want to say more nimble, but I mean, she used to do certain high flying moves that she doesn't do as often anymore. It obviously has not taken away from her performance. She's still an excellent performer, but she used to do this move where she would do like a like a jumping moonsault, or I don't even know what you would call it, off of the apron onto the floor onto her opponent. And she hasn't done that in a long time. And she did it here. And I was like,
Yes, I noticed
how?
that.
Like, how are you like you've tore both your ACLs? Like, damn. Every night is Saturday night indeed. I love, by the way, that both Toni and Stat feel confident enough that she can take these big, high profile losses to Bane, and she doesn't seem to sweat it. I don't think she's worried about her position on the roster. I know that someday, and Chris, she knows, and I think TK knows too, that Chris is going to be world champ one day, and in the
Yeah.
next year or so. And I think that I think it's great that we have people on the roster who are willing to do their jobs and are willing to, take those losses and feel good about it, or at least as far as I can tell, there doesn't seem to be any, heat or bad blood or whatever. It just seems to be like she knows that it's Megan Bane's time right now, and she knows she'll get her time when we cycle back through or whatever. She's had 2 stellar matches
Yeah.
with Mercedes and so many other people. I mean, you watch the 2019-2020 matches. Stat is one of the best wrestlers besides Riho and Nyla, and maybe Sheeta on there. Even Britt was pretty good back then. So she was, even at the beginning, and it's still rough around the edges in some ways, but she was putting out some of the best work. I mentioned this on a previous episode, but her match with Shanna was really good. And so yeah, Stat's always been this good, and she's just gotten better over the years, despite her major injuries, which I think is just a testament to how good she is.
Absolutely, yeah. Like you say, she's always been great. I think the 2 Mercedes matches were very much a reminder to some and a sort of premiere for others that, oh no, she is one of the best women's wrestlers on the planet. And to your point about her being willing to take losses, I really appreciate that there has been a real concerted effort from multiple people on the roster, and I imagine people backstage pushed Megan Bain as like, no, she is phenomenal. She is a monster. She is a credible threat to this title reign that has only just begun. Let us forget. There's a part in my brain that says I think she could win at Dynasty, which is crazy considering she only debuted like a couple of months ago. But they've done such a really brilliant job of getting her to that level where she could stand across from, for my money, the best overall women's wrestler on the roster. Certainly the best character wrestler on the roster. And I could go, I think you might lose this one. So yeah, cannot speak highly enough about it. The match itself, like we were talking about, hard hitting as hell. There's a point where they are just trading German suplexes, released German suplexes as well, which are doubly impressive because good grief, the airtime that these 2 women got on each other was excellent. And there's a point in this match that I want to talk about, by the way, which is it's towards the end. They're sort of brawling at the outside, and Megan Bain, she whips that into the, I think it's into the ring post, and then she turns her and throws her straight like a lawn dart at Toni Storm, sat at the
Yes.
commentary desk. And Toni, she absolutely stacks it. Like I don't know whether she wasn't expecting. Obviously, she was expecting. Obviously, it was planned. But she tells it like, "Oh Jesus Christ!" and she just goes down like a sack of shit, and it's really really good. But yeah, she gets a sort of after following that, picks her up, hits her with what does she call it? I'm just gonna say for posterity the F5. Obviously, that's not what she calls it.
She calls it like Fates Descend or some shit. I think the F5 honestly sounds cooler. I don't know. I'm whatever about the
Yeah.
name.
Well, just because I'm not sure what they call it, we'll just call it the F5. She hits him with the F5 on the floor, she takes it like a champ, good grief. Just scatterbrain just to put over that it's about at this point where Toni Storm says, I'm not afraid of anyone called Bane. I get my back broken every night.
God, so good.
Juice Robinson sitting at home with a broken leg and a huge grin plastered
I
over
think
his
she
face.
said 2 of her favorite words were juice and moist.
Yeah, at which point everyone in the live chat just was like, don't say that word. Get over yourself. But yeah, she pulls it back into the ring, hits another let's fate descend, something like that. For the win. Looks brilliant. Excellent match. Just wanna get over the post-match angle. Well, I don't want to go too long on this one because we've been talking for quite a while. But just to get the post-match angle sort of on here, Toni, I think she takes up her hand. They're trading punches, a full pull apart brawl. And Toni Storm, she gets on the mic, and you're thinking, well, she's been on one all night on commentary. What's she gonna say here? And she just starts off by going, "My God, you're a big bitch." Oh,
So good. I
Carrie,
laughed.
I pissed myself laughing because I wasn't expecting. I was expecting, something of that sort of caliber, but I just wasn't expecting to go, "God, you're a big bitch."
Yeah. So good.
It had shades of Rick Ross just going to
Yes,
Keith
I
Lee.
was just thinking, dude, I was just thinking that. I was just about to say accusations, but I wasn't sure. But yes, absolutely. And I love Toni also saying that she's leaving Dynasty with her strap on. So
Yeah, I was saying that the bigger they are, the harder they come. Which is like, can you even say that on television?
right? So
Oh,
good.
brilliant.
Yeah.
But,
A great end to one of the best Dynamites. I do want to
oh,
give a shout out before we wrap up. Unless there's something else you want to, unless we like
no, carry
miss
on.
it. Yeah. I want to shout out Homicide because he
Yeah,
is approaching retirement. Unfortunately, not on his own terms. He's 47, so he's wrestled quite a bit. A lot of people forget he was an ROH World Champion at one point. One of the biggest wins of his career over Brian, I want to say. And
yes, I believe so.
yeah, I believe he won in New York too. And Eddie posted. I haven't watched it because Eddie gets me emotional as it is. But Eddie Kingston, posted an emotional tribute to Homicide. ROH is putting up a lovely playlist for his best matches and stuff. I guess he's got some health issues. I'm not going to say the specifics, but he's got some health issues that are making it tougher and tougher to wrestle. And would only probably get worse if he continued to wrestle. So just best wishes to Homicide. Which actually sounds like a crazy sentence out of context. But Homicide has been a really cool, pops up every now and then figure on AEW. Just comes in, kills motherfuckers, leaves. Looks cool. So I love him. Best wishes to him and his health. I hope he can, get over, get through what he's going through right now. But I just want to shout that out. Something and yeah, he's retiring, I think tonight, on an indie. So not on his own terms, but I hope, obviously his health issues clear up.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounded, like you say, don't want to get into the specifics of it. It
Right.
sounded really sort of awful what he's going
Yes.
through. So yeah, he is one of the most beloved independent wrestlers of the last sort of 30 years. He's phenomenal, and absolutely everyone at this podcast, I'm sure I can speak for everyone. We wish him the absolute best in his retirement. Thank you so much for absolutely killing yourself for our
Yep.
entertainment over the past sort of my entire lifetime, pretty much. When I was getting into independent wrestling, sort of as a teenager, he would be one of the guys that he would constantly come up as like, oh no, he's one of those that you have to watch. So yeah, absolutely. Best wishes to you, man. Um, Godspeed to you.
Absolutely.
But yeah, just to pull it back, just to wrap up, the Dynamite portion of our Dynamite review.
Yes.
Yeah, I cannot say any bigger superlatives than I already have for this show. Probably the best Dynamite I've ever seen in my existence on this planet. Phenomenal stuff. Shout out to Omaha once again for being a phenomenal crowd all night. Shout out to Tony Khan for rewarding the fans walking through a blizzard, rewarding them with an all-timer show. And yeah, thank you for the privilege that it was to watch this AEW Dynamite last night
Yes.
and
Absolutely.
this morning, because I watched it again all the way through this morning
Oh,
because
wow.
it was just
Yes.
that good. So yeah, thank you, Dory, I should say, which is not something you will hear come out of my mouth too often.
And thank God too.
But thank you, Dory, for joining me in this podcast. It's been a real pleasure to talk the Graps with you. So thank you very much.
Yeah. I had a great time. I'm really excited to see what's next for Collision. Collision looks like a great show. I want to remind everybody they're doing this weird thing because of fucking basketball. But I apologize to our basketball fans. It's just I'm not one of them, and it's messing up my Graps. Anyway, so I believe what the plan is that they are going to have a 1-hour Collision on Saturday night and Sunday night immediately following the NBA dunk thing, or maybe it's not dunk thing. I don't know sports.
I think it's it's the Final Four, right? NCAA.
Yeah, it's March Madness.
Yeah,
That's right. I was like, is it? Yeah. Anyway, so I believe it's going to be at like 11 p.m. both nights for 1 hour or something. I don't exactly understand why, but that's what I believe they're doing.
As if AEW hasn't fucked my British sleep schedule up enough. But it's fine. The things we do for live wrestling. Am I right? But yes, absolutely. Catch. I should imagine that we will do our Collision review probably on Monday as one big block.
Yes. I think that's good.
Just so we can talk about everything. I probably won't be on that.
No, I won't either. I'll be busy, but the school and whatnot and work and.
But we will have, I'm sure, some fantastic hosts to talk the Graps on the weekend for you. But as it stands, again, brilliant episode of Dynamite. Thank you, Dory, for joining me.
Yes.
I have been Adam, and this has been your Modcast Dynamite review. Like and subscribe if you like. It would really help us out, and we would love you forever. But apart from that, thank you very much for joining us, and goodbye.
Bye, everybody.